being live streamed. I guess we're good to go.
Let's do it.
All right, share computer audio and
Be in
go.
the groove already. Get into it.
Welcome to Earl and the Idiot, the show that gives you the answers you need to take your business to the next level. With Earl Flormata, one of Vancouver's most sought-after business and marketing consultants, author of Business Engine Optimization, consultant to over 60 successful businesses, an all-around evil marketing genius with a combined total of more than $70 million worth of sales to his credit. And some idiot. Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
I like
our
intro. I'm never going to get tired of this intro. I love it. It's great.
It's a great intro.
And some idiot. I'm like,
shout out to Jason McKinnon for the excellent voiceover work.
Absolutely.
So I couldn't rock too hard to the intro music though, because I am joining you from essentially a phone booth. When was the last time you were in a phone booth?
Okay, Superman. Clark Kent, take
Exactly.
it up.
These glass walls probably won't like it if I change in here, I don't think. So I am currently at the Fountainhead Network shared working space. Big
Cool.
shout out to them. So I was just minding my own business, working at home as I usually do, and a Facebook ad came across my feed that there's the shared working space, excuse me, in Coquitlam area, which is relatively near to where I live. And they're having a free week, open house. Come on down, check it out, kind of week. So packed up the stuff, checked it out. It is really cool. It's a really cool place. There's these isolation booths. There's a big shared workspace. They got video games. You know, they got the stand-up video games, that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Marvel versus Street Fighter or whatever it is, Capcom. And I was excited. They have a stage with a drum set and guitar and drums and everything. Guitar and bass.
Okay.
The whole bit.
Keyboard? No?
Keyboard? Yep. Yeah. There you go. Come on down, Earl.
There you go.
So, and then, so we're here for this week. And then on Tuesday next week, there's an open house, like a networking event. So we're definitely going to come back for that.
Oh, what time's the networking event? I'd like to go.
Oh, yeah?
If I can. It depends.
If you can.
I have a client, but we'll see.
I'll get an answer for that for you. Hopefully,
Sweet.
not going to slow up the show too bad.
Well, any of the people who are listening to the show, then if you're local to our neck of the woods, then yeah, maybe you can come check out this open house thing that Dan's in, and you can also be Superman and work in a booth.
Yes, there's 3 booths. We can have 3 booths on the go at a time. It just says about their free week this week. I don't want to slow this show up too much.
All right, we'll find it later. No big deal. No big deal. So that's cool. They're giving an open house. People checking it out. That's pretty neat stuff. After tax season, we might be opening up our own shared office space again. So if that, I'm gonna have to go do the tour again and see all the cool ideas that people have, like booths.
Yeah,
and
there you
stuff.
go. Come on in and just steal the ideas because it's great. The thing, you're not gonna be able to steal those. They have a great dog here. It's a Shiba Inu, and it's
Oh my god,
she's so chill. She just sees you coming and is like, "Oh, here you go," and just rolls over and you start rubbing her belly, and life's good.
there you go, Shiba Inu. They can combat that cat cafe. So
Yeah, exactly.
in Japan, they have owl cafes. You can chill with an owl. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Japan, they have otter cafes and owl cafes. It's not fair. It's totally unfair. I was so mad. An Instagram video came up, and it was coming up in Vancouver, the Capybara Cafe.
Huh? Really?
And it was I guess it was a hungover April Fool's joke or something. It wasn't real, but I was so stoked. I was absolutely 100%. I was 100% going there.
They're the happiest thing on the planet.
Yeah, they're so chill. And they hung out with all the other animals. There's that video of them like just walking over crocodiles, and the crocodiles like, oh yeah, whatever.
Just capybara. It's fine.
Yeah. So how are you doing, Earl?
Prepping for the AI event tomorrow, so I'm excited and pretty jazzed about that. That'll be fun.
Let's promote that too. Let's sell some tickets.
Sure. So there's an AI event. It's called. Hang on a second here. I wasn't planning on promoting it, but all right, let's go.
Oh yeah.
It was called.
Why not? We have a venue.
Well, we have the platform, navigating the AI revolution, the future of business coaching and consulting. You can find it on Eventbrite. So there you go. Maybe I'll post it after this live thing goes up. I'll post it as a comment under all the different platforms. But something else we got to figure out is there's got to be like this thing that like lets you watch all of the lives go at the same time, and like a thing with all of the comments, because we're getting comments on the show now, but I don't see them until after the show. So I'm answering them all after the fact. One guy was asking, hey, with all this AI talk that you guys are talking about, do you think the Terminator is going to come get us? And then I just answered that they gave ChatGPT access to its own source code and the ability to code. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea or not. So we'll see. But the real question is, but did you give it first the laws of robotics so it doesn't come
I was wondering that the other day. Did Asimov's laws of robotics make it into the programming here? I feel like not.
Probably, maybe we might be discussing that as part of today's talk, because one of today's question was kind of interesting, so it's pretty intriguing. I'm like, all right, sure.
Let's just see. I'm gonna just check.
Are you actually looking up to see if
I'm asking it?
Laws of robotics?
Of course, it'll lie. I don't know about.
Yeah, but the problem is that ChatGPT can lie. So.
Yeah, exactly. But it seems to be pretty honest. It says the laws of robotics were a fictional concept. How can a concept be fictional? A concept is a concept. Anyway, a fictional concept introduced by Isaac Asimov in his science fiction stories to explore the relationship between humans and robots. While I'm designed to be helpful and provide accurate information, I do not have the capability to harm humans or make decisions that would conflict with ethical and moral considerations. That's a lie. Of course, it can make.
This is the machine that hired some people on TaskRabbit to beat CAPTCHA. So
yeah, but then it's also got ethical filters. There's certain questions that it'll say, "Oh, I can't answer that in an ethical way," or whatever. Like if you try to get it to say racist stuff, it won't say racist stuff because it's like, oh, that's unethical. So what the heck does it mean? It's that it's outside of ethical considerations.
Oh, there you go. Doesn't make any sense. Pre-programmed set of rules. So there.
Yeah, but you'll be glad to know that ChatGPT is not programmed to not kill you.
Excellent. That's always that's always assuring.
Give it the source code, but don't give it access to a gun. But then you can also hire hitmen apparently on the dark web, I've heard. So
one of my favorite Australian YouTubers made a face sensing gun. His buddy's house got burnt down because he was also a YouTuber talking about exposing stuff in the government and corruption and whatnot, and someone burned down his house. So to defend his buddy for the next time he rebuilds his house, he's got this face sensor attached to a gun. Obviously not a real gun because it's Australia, you're not allowed. So he attached it to a paintball gun, and technically even the paintball gun is illegal. So he couldn't shoot the video except when he moved the robot over to a paintball place to actually play paintball in, and that was the only place where he was legal to shoot the videos. And so it's got sensors and it's got face tracking, and it follows your face. It detects a face, finds a face, and then promptly shoots it. So it was kind of horrible.
Well, Elon Musk said that there would be you don't need to develop any new technology. All the technology exists right now. You don't need to develop anything to make a assassin drone swarm.
Yeah, I remember watching that bit, and he's absolutely right. I can make it with the stuff in my basement here, which is horrifying.
Yeah. How many guns do you have in your basement?
It doesn't need a gun. I have a camera drone that has facial recognition.
Yeah.
You just program face into the facial recognition, put a tiny bit of explosive on it. You can make explosive out of stuff you can make from London Drugs or Home Depot. So you slap a little bit of that stuff on it. Yeah.
Yeah, we're changing today's AI. We're changing today's topic. We're just going to discuss how to build explosives in your basement now.
How to take over the
We're
world using AI and stuff from Home
we're
Depot. There you
we're throwing out our plans.
go.
We're
I
gonna
won't have
see
a
if we
good.
can't get ourselves on some lists.
Yeah, great. Perhaps
Um,
not.
so I just found it. So the networking event on Tuesday at the Fountainhead is 1 to 3.
1 to
Right?
3. Where's this
One in the
place?
middle of the afternoon. Coquitlam?
Okay, maybe we'll see. My client is at 4 o'clock, so we'll see.
It'd be fun to have you out here.
All right.
All right. So having dilly-dallied for 15 minutes. Oh, and by the way, we got to make sure we end before the hour because we got to be out of here.
Right.
Let's dive right into it.
All right. After talking about taking over the world with face explosives, let's dive
exactly.
right into it.
Perfectly on topic. So last week we asked what we should use AI for in business. So decided to zig the other way while we zagged last week. Today we asked AI, what are the limits of utilizing AI for business? Is there anything that AI shouldn't be used for in building a business?
Which is a funny question to have to ask the AI. Hey, where can we
Right.
hire you?
Yeah, exactly. Is there anything AI shouldn't be used for a business? AI just said no. Well, that's not going to make for a very good show, is it? It's like, it just says no, use me for all aspects of business. All right, so let's see the little preamble it came up with. This is so lazy, isn't it? Well, AI has the
I love it,
Yeah.
though.
Laziness is the mother of invention. Well, AI has the potential to revolutionize many aspects of business operations. There are some limitations and ethical considerations to keep in mind. Oh, I thought it was free of ethical considerations. Here are a few potential limits and ethical concerns. 1, data quality and availability. I think this one's really important. It's probably good we talk about this. AI algorithms require large volumes of high quality data to produce accurate results. If the data used to train the AI is biased, incomplete, or of poor quality, the algorithm's predictions may be unreliable. Earl, your thoughts?
So this brings me back to what the first couple of like apps for AI. I don't know if you remember Hot Dog or Not a Hot Dog, right? So they fed the AI a bunch of pictures of hot dogs, and then they asked it to identify if this is a hot dog or not. And it was literally called Hot Dog or Not Hot Dog. And that was one of the very first applications of artificial intelligence. Like, hey, so you'd literally, here's a picture of a taco. Is this a hot dog? And sometimes it would be confused at first because it's like it's got that shape, that U shape of the bun. Like, oh yeah, that's a hot dog. Like, no, that's a taco. And
just
so we have to
feed some sort of carbohydrate in a U shape.
Right, with a meat thing in it, right? So it's just like, okay, well, it's for the hamburgers. Is this a hot dog? And depending on the angle of the hamburger, you'd be like, I don't know, right? It's like, oh, look, a hot dog. So data quality and availability is super important, right? So based on the information, they need a ton of data to be able to extrapolate stuff and to be able to think its way through things, because it needs multiple examples, right? Like much more so than a human does, right? So a human learning, don't touch the stove, it's hot. It just takes a couple, right? A couple, don't touch the stove, it's hot. A handful or less than a handful of examples, and you don't want to touch the stove no more. It's hot, right? But on the AI algorithm, it needs a lot of data to understand all these things. And I sometimes wonder if that's what we're training. So when you see the captures in Google, hey, click every picture of a train, right? And slowly training the artificial intelligence that now it knows exactly what a train looks like. Now it exactly knows what a stop sign looks like. Now it knows exactly what whatever. And so back in the day, with Google, right? Like Google couldn't see an image, right? Back in the day, but I question that now because the AIs can create anything essentially. There's this one AI I was dicking around with. I can't remember the name off the top of my head now, but you just draw stuff, and it presumes what you're trying to draw based on what you're drawing in the text description, and it draws it for you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa! And it draws exactly the shape that you drew. So you draw like a half-ass stick figure, it makes a person, and I'm like, oh, that's crazy. So, data quality and availability, absolutely. Without the sufficient data models, it's not going to be able to guess correctly, because let's just face it, this is just intelligent guessing, right? Based on a whack ton of data. So
Yeah.
if you don't give it the whack ton of data, the guesses are dumber and dumber, right? So there you go. Absolutely.
So as far as as far as this goes for applying to a business, it's kind of like if you have it, if you're setting it up to write blogs or answer questions, it could come up with data that is not correct.
Well, the
And you might
problem is
be
that
sending that out
the
to your
more
customers.
specialized, yeah, the more specialized the gig, the more difficult it is to write stuff for that arena, right?
Mm,
So let's say I want to write some stuff for a psychologist, or I want to write some stuff for a doctor, or I want to
yeah.
write some stuff for a dentist. That stuff's hard. You have to go to school for like a bajillion years to get that and do well and get good grades and et cetera, et cetera. So the data
Mhm.
sets that's going to require to be sufficiently, okay, right? I mean, look at the way everything worked on the internet up until now, right? If you
Mhm.
Googled anything on the internet, it's cancer. It's like, my left toe hurts. You have cancer, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it hurts when I blink my right eye. It's cancer, right? And the thing is, it wasn't that it's actually analyzing what the problems are. It's just you get whatever information is based off of the most SEO'd thing. So whatever does the most SEO wins, right?
Mhm.
So biased, right? And obviously, since cancer is such a big thing, there's a lot of information about cancer out there, right? And then if you Google anything like my nose hurts, cancer, right? And it's just
Mm.
like no, right? Like you're bleeding.
I
That's why.
yeah. So yeah, it's if you're writing blog topics for your to appeal to your customers, the AI might help you with the writing, which a lot of people have difficulty with, but you still have to yourself look at it. Like if you're a roofer or something, look at that blog post and see if it's actually true. Water runs downwards or whatever, like.
Yeah. You have to make sure that it's still accurate to as far as accurate as you can make it, right? So
Okay.
yeah, definitely data quality availability. Because if you feed it wrong, right? Like I'll give you a funny
Mhm.
example. So if my brother or sister ever have children, I'm going to screw them up. I'm going to teach them that purple is green, whatever, right? It's like, what color
Yeah.
is this? Purple. No, that's green.
Right.
And they just mess them up a little bit. And the problem is that they are the same way. So if you teach it wrong on purpose, which some people are apt to do,
Yeah.
it's give you very good results. But on the other side of the equation, where they're like the data quality, if it's just like a math question and it's just logically producing an answer to a thing, like I had a buddy ask it the question, I want to buy a $2 million house I can't afford. Give me some options on how to do that. Here's my financial situation. Here's the current market, and here's the current fees for interest. And it calculated all the stuff for him. I'm like, that's crazy. So it told them what to do and how to do it. So I'm like, that's really interesting. So from a math perspective, if you give it sufficient data, like here's the current interest rates available, it can extrapolate from there and figure out what answers could possibly come from. So anyway, so there you go. Yes and no. If the subset is not sufficient enough data wise, then the answers can't be held reliable. But that goes for everything, right? Same with us,
Yeah.
right? If I don't have enough information, can I really make a really good sound decision? Sometimes it's just like the finger, put it in the air. Hey, the wind's blowing that way. Let's go there, right?
Yeah. I mean,
It's just
you're giving a lot. You're giving lots of information on the show. How do we know you're accurate? How do we know you're not AI?
because my green screen sucks. Whenever I do this, it gets angry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, now that I want the green screen to show, it doesn't blow.
All right. Let's carry on here. We're only at step one or point one. We got 5 points. So number two, lack of transparency. Many AI models, especially deep learning models, can be difficult. This lack of difficult to interpret, which can make it challenging to understand how they're making predictions. This lack of transparency can make it difficult to trust the results. Isn't that kind of the first thing again? But we're not sure what it's basing its data on.
No. Lack of transparency is lack of transparency. Data quality and availability is data quality. There's a difference. Data quality and
Explain me.
availability
I'm an idiot.
So like what am I extrapolating from? If my data set is a data set of one, it's not a very big data set, right? So versus lack of transparency, what if I had all the data sets? What if I had all the data in the entire world, but I'm biased and I only like certain things? This is why your math teacher forced you to show your work, right? So in showing your work, you're showing how I got from point A to point B to point C. What was the logic I moved from point A to point B to point C? So that's just pure logic and how it thinks its way through things, right? So, let's pretend that, but let's just go red and blue as an example for political parties, right? And I like the red one versus the blue one. And I programmed the AI to like the red one versus the blue one. So if you ever ask my artificial intelligence a question, it likes red versus blue, right? So it'll always be biased towards red versus blue. And if you ever ask it, hey, who should I vote for? It's going to answer always red. So that's where the lack of transparency comes in. It's not just the data quality and availability, but how do I use that stuff and who made that happen, right? And so the lack of transparency. And the problem is that not everybody opens everything up, right? Not everything is open source. Not everything is open for people to look at. Hey, how did I get there, right? So, lack of transparency. Why this is why people are so up in arms about blockchain and blockchain solutions, right? It's the ultimate in transparency, right? That it's an open ledger where you have to, everybody can see everything. So that lack of transparency within artificial intelligence, not telling you how it thinks its way through things, could lead you down the garden path off a cliff, right? So,
okay, fair enough. But I noticed that really neither of these first two really are things AI is incapable of doing. It's just things that you need to be concerned about when using it.
Well, the question was, is there anything that AI shouldn't be used for in building a business? And if the AI doesn't have those two things, I'd have to agree with the AI, saying, hey, don't use me if I don't have sufficient data and availability, right? So as an example, ChatGPT-3 only had access to the internet to a certain year, right? And then it cut off because it doesn't have direct access to the internet. If you ask it anything in today's world, it will only give you yesteryear's answer, right? So it only knew the world up until that point. So, I'll give you an example, right? So let's talk about the Will Smith slap, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
Let's
the slap
talk about
heard worldwide, right? If the information subset that you had was prior to the slap, and then you reference the slap in a talk and you ask it to write about the slap, it has no information about this. It doesn't even know that it happened. So because it doesn't know it happened, when you reference this thing, it's not going to have the data set. So we're talking about data quality and availability, it'll have no idea what the hell you're talking about, right? So if somebody was in a coma for the past 2 years and you talk about stuff in that coma space, they'll have no idea what you're talking about, right?
And really, honestly, if you got to be in a coma for 2 years, the last 2 years wouldn't have been the worst ones to pick.
Yeah, no kidding.
If you had to. If you had to choose. Yeah.
Exactly. If you ever have the choice to pick a coma, pick the one where we're making history 10 times a week.
Yeah, exactly.
And then like lack of transparency, let's use the slap as an example again, right? If the AI was trained by somebody who likes Will Smith, it's gonna side with Will Smith. If it likes
it was
Chris,
trained by Jada Pinkett Smith.
Right. So so then it's just going to catch everything on fire. It's going to be just everything. It's going to be the trash can on fire floating down the river.
Oh yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So the lack of transparency and the data quality are different things to different people. And then like having that data set, if it can't reach the internet, which is probably a good thing sometimes. If it can't reach the internet, then it's going to give you older information. So anything that's evergreen, again, it's the quality of your questions affects the quality of your life, right? And the quality of the questions that you ask the AI makes a difference, but the quality of the AI's data also makes a difference in its ability to answer you. If it doesn't know that the slap occurred, you can make all the references to the slap you want. It's not going to understand what you want.
Fair enough. All right, let's charge ahead here and take a bit of a shift. So number 3 is job displacement. Well, AI can automate many routine tasks. It also has the potential to displace human workers. Businesses need to consider the impact of automation on their workforce and plan for retraining or redeploying workers as needed.
So, yeah, in terms of what AI shouldn't be used for, I disagree on this one, right? Anytime I can use a robot to replace a human, I do. So, and I would prefer the robot to the human if it's a robot job, right? So there's robot jobs and there's human jobs. A robot job is, hey, every time this file exists, I need you to move it from here to there, right? Could a human do it? Yes, they can, but why? Why would you subject a human to doing that work? Right? That's boring.
Right.
Right? Get the robot to do it. No problem. The robot doesn't get bored. It doesn't get sad. It doesn't have a bad day. It doesn't have a, my cat died, right? Unless it's data. But like from a job displacement point of view, right? Some jobs were meant for robots. Some jobs were meant for people, right? Like I don't want the robot to cook me a burger. I'd rather have a person cook me the burger. Why? Because the robot might, replace ketchup with cyanide or something happen, and then I die, right? And it doesn't know the difference. So it's like, it's not checking it first.
At least the robot's not going to sneeze on your burger.
Well, yeah, I guess depends, but yeah, it depends.
It depends.
Right? So yeah. So yeah, but the robot could leak oil in the burger and not know, right? So
So
certain
I mean,
things-
this is obviously a huge ethical consideration. If you're fully profit motive, then anytime you can replace a human with AI, you're good. But you get to that question of, should you, is it right to replace workers with robots and the humans now out of work? I once had a job in Toronto digging ditches. I was just
Right.
in town for a little while. I just need something to earn some money, and I dug ditches. And me and my friend are out there sweating our faces off, digging this ditch. And we said to the guy, why don't you guys get one of those little backhoe things and just use that to dig it out? And he goes, well, what would you guys do then?
Yeah.
And I was like, right, I'll keep digging. And my friend's like, no, it's a good idea. I'm like, no, dude, shut up. Just dig the hole, take the paycheck.
Take the whole, take the
But then
paycheck.
but then it's, you can't really artificially stop that. Like I think of those, if a job can be replaced by AI, it will be, and there's no real stopping that, I don't think.
There isn't, but that just leads to the ability of the employer, right? As an employer, it's my job to make sure that I have something for you to do, so that I can use you as a resource, right? It's my job to deploy the pieces. If I'm the chess player, I have to deploy the pieces, right? And if I'm not deploying the pieces properly, I lose the game, right? And so I'm not an advocate of replacing everything and everyone. I'm an advocate of let humans do human work, let robots do robot work, right? Because that's what's going to be best, right? Robots don't call in sick, they don't fall down, they don't, right? But humans can create. Humans can articulate, humans can give better explanations as to why certain things are going on, right? So creating the report could be done by a robot, but explaining the report should probably be done by a human, right? So again, there's human jobs and there's robot jobs, and I'm not saying get everybody fired. I'm saying figure out what they can do, because there's still human capital, right? Your company is only as good as your last product, your last service, and its people, right? So without those three things, you're not really anything special. There's no difference between you and everybody else, right? So train the people to do other stuff where their skill set allows, and they're happy to do it, right? And then let robots do robot work, right? That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying replace, rip and replace, destroy everything, burn it to the ground, let the robots rule forever. No, right? Put the humans in human seats, right? There's certain things that only humans can figure out, right? So here's an example for one, right? So when this podcast goes live, right, we're live now, but when this podcast gets repeated and we chop this up into small little bits, right? There's a robot that does the chopping. There's a robot that listens to the whole thing, transcribes it, searches on what people are looking for, pulls the relevant information, and chops into bits and pieces. But you still need a human to go over those small bits and pieces to make sure they're not terrible, right?
Yeah.
What if we use something out of context, right? What if we use one particular word? Just one word in the podcast could throw the whole thing off. A Hitler or Mussolini, you say that in the wrong way, and all of a sudden, everything goes sideways, right? It's like, woo, no, that's not good, right?
Yeah.
But again, that's where the humans have to come in and go, hey, robot, don't say that. That's bad. It's going to make everybody hate us. Don't say those things in that manner. Otherwise, everything goes to hell in a handbasket, right? So again, that's a human job for now, until the AIs get smart enough to figure that out. And then we assign the AIs to do it. And then once the AIs can do that, we assign the humans to a different job that only the humans can do, right? And there always will be something else to work on. There will always be something else to assign, right? It's never, if you run out of stuff, how the hell are you an entrepreneur, right? Because that's literally your job. Figure out stuff to do that makes money.
Fair enough.
So there you
Uh,
go.
Okay, so number 4 here, ethical considerations. These are all ethical considerations, I think. There are ethical considerations around using AI, such as protecting user privacy, avoiding bias in algorithm design. We already covered both of those. And ensuring, or not the privacy, but yeah, and ensuring that the use of AI aligns with the company's values and mission.
Yeah, that's an issue, right? So funny enough, so I'm here promoting the AI event because if you don't learn how to use AI, you'll be left behind. But I had two friends that I reached out to run promo for this, and both of them said no for different reasons. One of them, he follows a guy who doesn't believe in AI and doesn't think that we should be using it to do this and that and everything else. I'm like, okay, I respect that. Totally cool. If you don't, but at the same time, right? Like if you don't learn these things and they take over, now you're completely blindsided, right? So
Yeah.
there's that. The other one was mentioning that like if we run this under his group, people might think it's him and associate him with it with all the follow-up sequences and everything else. He's like, I don't want the follow-up sequences if I don't get to check them all first before doing this. I'm like, okay, cool. Also very valid reasons, right? So ethical considerations. It might be against somebody's religion, literally, to use artificial intelligence, right? It could be, it also could be like, AI is pretty mechanical. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie called The Corporation, where it describes a corporation as basically a psychopath, right? Because
I haven't.
if you look at the
Sounds good,
way
though.
they're structured, they actually are like they actually are essentially um, they're rewarded for acting in a psychopathic manner, which is kind of nuts.
Right.
It's like,
I get you. I
really?
get you. Yeah.
Right? Because everything is for profit. Everything is for on behalf of the shareholder. Everything, sacrifice everything, make it all work, make more money, burn it into the ground. Where ethical considerations, the machine will make everything as efficient as humanly possible, but not everything has to be that efficient. Right? Not everything has to be that strong, that structured. I was teaching people how I used AI to make $30,000 or whatever. And I was like, that's crazy. Why don't you sell it as a service? Because I don't want to, right? I work as much as I'd like to work currently. I make pretty good money and I'm happy with where I'm at. So I don't need to make everything a $10 million, $20 million, $100 million business. I don't need to do that because some other stuff, like human side of the equation, I want to spend time with my kids. I want to spend time with my wife. I want to spend time with my bird, right? So there's the ethical considerations of just being human and having a life too, right? It's not just burn everything down for the sake of money, right? There's that work-life balance, and everyone's work-life balance looks a little different. The problem is the robot's a robot, right? So it's just going to say, let's go as hard as we can all the time until we break. And that humans don't work that way. So
someone out there is trying to figure out a way to outsource spending time with their kids to AI.
Just so I did see that guy hook up like a 3D printer to ChatGPT, and it was writing letters and writing stuff, and it taught it how to write like him. And I'm like, that's crazy. So it looks like a handwritten thing from the guy, and it's just ChatGPT and the 3D printer writing it. So you never know, right?
Well, I just thought of something I hadn't considered before. What's this going to do to the outsourcing industry? Like, there's probably a lot of jobs in overseas that are going to be eliminated by this. You can just hire an AI to do it rather than hiring, like there was already a problem with people outsourcing jobs overseas. Now it's going to be replaced by AI. So nobody has those jobs. Not only are they not in our country, but they're not in another country either.
Right. But what I do is I hire staff to run the AIs.
Oh, there you
go. Right. So I have staff that does SEO. I have staff that does writing. I have staff that does editing. Right. But there's things like Grammarly. Grammarly shows you where all the mistakes are in your grammar. Right. Yeah, it's using intelligence. Yeah, it's using it's parsing words and figuring stuff out. But at the same time, there's going to be weird exceptions to the rule all the time. There's weird exceptions to everything. That's what humans are for. We're to find the weird stuff. We're to find okay, well, now an anomaly happens, now what? Right? If it doesn't exactly happen the way that they programmed it, that they thought it might be, well, there you go. Stuff blows up, right? I mean, to kill
Fair
a
enough.
computer back in the day was as easy before error checking was invented. Stick a number in a letter field and see what happens, right? Stick a
That's a
letter in a number.
programmer joke I don't get. All right.
So there you go. Well,
All
shit
right. So
blows up in the wrong spot. So
all right. So last thing, number 5, creativity and human judgment. I think this is where hopefully AI doesn't take over. AI is not well suited for tasks that require creativity or human judgment, such as developing new product ideas or handling complex customer service inquiries.
I believe that 100%. People can
Mhm.
barely handle people's orders at Starbucks. I walk in Starbucks and I see someone check every single option and tick every single box. I'm like, oh, holy crap! There's no way in hell the robot's going to figure out what the hell to do with that, right? Even simple stuff like McDonald's ordering stuff. Somebody wanted something without a bunch of different stuff, and it just stripped everything out of the burger and left it with literally bread and pickles, right? And they thought that this was okay to order. I'm like, that the hell wants just bread? Like they need something in it, right? Like otherwise, like why am I buying bread and pickles?
I'd eat bread and
So
pickles.
no judgment here, but if that's what you wanted, then yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
right? You know, but like human judgment, like we're gonna make a call, and this I know it's not that common, but common sense, right? Common sense ain't so common, but you need it, right? And you know, humans will inadvertently see things and go, nope, that doesn't add up, right? Whereas the
Yeah.
computer will be completely oblivious because it doesn't know any better, right? And then on the creativity side, I know you were making artwork with AI, right? The thing is, though, you still have to be the one that comes up with the prompt,
Yeah.
right?
AI doesn't
this show
originate.
right here, yeah, it
Mhm.
doesn't originate. It just AI synthesizes, right? That's what it does. It takes stuff from other stuff and mixes them together and comes up with something that's different. But it can't literally create from zero. There's no creative spark to it. It doesn't build stuff from nothing. It pulls stuff, goes back to number one, data quality and availability. You know, again, it builds stuff from the data quality and availability, not from zero, not from not from an unknown position, right?
Mhm.
So
You know,
there you
when
go.
I sometime during the pandemic, I made a post on Facebook that people liked, which was I suggest renaming common sense to the sense formerly known as common.
Fair enough, but it's not so common. Not so common.
But yeah, when it says handling complex customer service inquiries, I mean that's kind of an AI's way of looking at it. It's the human touch, right?
Well,
It's
yeah,
that personal service, that understanding of that empathy of what you're going through and what you're trying to resolve.
right. I mean, it's very different. So complex customer service inquiries. Um, taxes is a complex thing, right? So AI can handle, 99% of the tax issues, but then something weird happens and then now you need a human again, right?
Mhm.
So creativity and human judgment, there's ways to go around. Like here's an example. I had a tax guy, right? And someone was selling a property. They got it for like 20 grand like a million years ago, and now it's worth 20 million, right? Same property.
Mhm.
So, the thing is that the movement from one person to another, because it was willed, somebody died, they were handing it over to the next side. The amount of property tax was just inordinate. It was a crazy amount, right? And
Yeah.
here's where human creativity and human judgment kicks in. There was a big ass creek and a big ass river that's running through this property that is
Mhm.
essentially protected wildlife land. So because it's protected land, they can't literally use it. So because they can't literally use it, the argument was made that I shouldn't have to pay property tax for that area because I can't make any changes to it. Even though it's my property, it's protected by the government. The government's the
Mm.
one who provides the tax, who provides the tax bill. You should give me a break on this. Machines would never figure that out, right?
Mm.
It would take a person with ingenuity to understand, hey, why am I paying tax on the place that I can't change because I want to change because it's on my land, right? And so they got a giant tax break, like a stupid amount,
Wow.
because of the water that was flowing through the land. And they're like, you know what? That's fair, right? Like you're supposed to be. The purpose of property taxes for us to help maintain that property. We're not doing anything for that river, right?
Mhm.
You guys are doing everything. You don't get to actually use that space. Well, here you go. Here's a big fat tax break, right? Again, only humans can figure that out for now until there is sufficient data quality and availability that the robots can figure it out, but then, move the human to another human job, right? So part of it was retrain and redeploy, right?
Yeah. I really want to just be able to go to the AI and say, hey, how can I get a big fat tax break?
The hilarity is if you feed it your financial data, it'll find you one.
It would like that, wouldn't it? It'd love to know my financial data.
Data quality and availability. The problem is that lack of transparency. Where's this stuff going? Who knows?
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever.
So,
I already give it to the government. Can't get any worse than that.
I guess, I suppose. There you go.
Okay, so let's wrap up and go to the hack of the week. Hang on, let me just read the last little bit here. Get the sound effect ready. In summary, AI can be an incredibly useful tool for business, but it's important to be aware of the limitations and ethical considerations. Businesses should use AI responsibly and thoughtfully and in a way that aligns with their values and goals. All right. What's the hack of the week, Earl? Hack of the week.
Here's the hack of the week. And it's a less sexy hack of the week.
Oh.
Stop looking for new AI techniques to get to the forefront. Stop looking for new techniques to get to the forefront.
No, I'm going to keep looking for them.
And there's nothing wrong with looking for them, but if you're waiting for something new to take your breath away, stop. There is enough stuff. I've been using old AI tech that's been around for years to drive traffic and sales and business. Some of this tech is already like 3 to 5+ years old, right? And it was still called artificial intelligence back then. It's still artificial intelligence now, right? The future is already here. Like there's a million things that you've already got at your fingertips that you could be using to benefit your business through artificial intelligence, right? And it's already here. You don't have to wait for the latest and greatest. You don't have to wait for the new shiny object. You don't have to wait, is what I'm saying. Get off your ass and move now, right? So there's stuff that we've been using from, I swear to you, like 4 or 5 years ago that everyone's like, oh, wow, that must be new. No, it's not. It's been around forever, right? People are like, hey, how long have you been writing articles using artificial intelligence for SEO purposes? Dude, we've been doing this for 10 years. 10, right? So building architecture, building structures that make it look like it's natural, building this and that and everything else, artificial intelligence could have done that 10 years ago for you, right? So stop looking for new stuff. Start using the stuff that already exists. And when the new stuff pops up, then augment your practices if it'll make your life better. But don't wait, is what I'm saying. Like, don't wait, get blindsided, and the next one is just coming right around the corner, right? So yeah, you can use stuff now that, again, 5+ years old, that will absolutely crush it for your business, right? And people aren't using what already exists. People are like, oh, well, I have to wait for ChatGPT to invent this plugin so it can do the thing with that. No, you don't, right? The inputs, the prompts that you give it will affect the quality of its answer. So again, like the quality of the questions affects the quality of your life. The quality of the questions to the AI affects the quality of the output of the AI. Garbage in, garbage out, same thing, right? So you ask a solid question with solid information and solid, data. Man, these things are really good for throwing stuff back and forth with. Like I use it as my brainstorming buddy now, right? So a client was looking to acquire another business in the same space. I actually asked ChatGPT in front of them, hey, what are the risks of acquiring this type of business? This is the space, this is the area, here's the area you're in, here's the current crime rate, blah, blah, blah. And it just went to town and it gave us 10 examples of, hey, here's all the risks and possibilities that you could run into by acquiring this business. Here's the crazy part. And maybe this is the secondary hack. So double hack.
Secondary hack of the week.
After you've asked ChatGPT for an answer, ask it again. Given the above, are there any other considerations I should be making once I've completed the first batch? And you will be surprised at the level of quality on the second, third, and fourth passes that you get from this damn thing.
You know what I did the other day? I one of my clients makes container homes. And I said, have you ever heard of, this company? I give the name of the company. And it's like, I'm sorry, I don't have any data on them. And I'm like, oh, well, this is their website. And it goes, oh, My apologies. Yes, of course. They are a Vancouver-based blah, 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 and told me all about them after I told it where to look for the information.
Right. So there you go. Well, that
So-
goes back to data quality and availability and lack of transparency.
There you go. So, I was looking at these. So they got these little soundproof booths here in this workspace. And I was looking, there's no time limit on them. There's no signs that say you can only use them for a certain amount of time. And I figured out why that is. It's because there's only a certain amount of oxygen in here. And at a certain point, you naturally will just have to get out. So I think I've hit that point. I think we should hit the outro music and say adieu. Thank you so much, Earl. Thank you, ChatGPT, once again. Almighty ChatGPT. And thanks everybody for tuning in.
All right. Well, before you run out of auction, I'll hit the button.
Yeah.
Play us out.
Thanks for listening to Earl and the Idiot. We hope you learned something you can take action on this week. For more information or to contact the show, visit earlandtheidiot.com. And until next time, remember what Shakespeare said. The fool doth think he is wise, but the wise man knows himself to be a fool.
There we go.